I want to talk about my team personally. I feel like I haven't really got this opportunity to really talk about them and really dive into this upcoming season. And I'm talking about my Denver Broncos, y'all. Now, I think this offseason, and I think I mentioned this before, I believe, I think this offseason was probably one of Denver's best offseasons in a really long time. Coming from the dark ages of 2016 to 2023, it was a dark time for the Denver Broncos. But let's look at some of their key additions via the free agency and the draft. Now, before I get into those things, I want to just talk about, I think Sean Payton is the epitome of the definition of insanity and this is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting the same results. Now, and I said it applies to Sean Payton as he clearly is trying to recreate the New Orleans Saints within the Denver Broncos, y'all. So let's just kind of dive into it real quick. Let's just look at the roster, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I'll explain why I believe this or why I'm saying this. Now, obviously, Bo Nix is at the helm. He's in his sophomore season. He looks to establish himself as one of the top quarterbacks in the AFC, which sophomore slumps, they happen. I mean, everyone thought C.J. Stroud had a sophomore slump, but I think he actually played even better last year than he did his rookie season. So I think he threw like 2 or 3 more picks, but that's about it. And I think he did get sacked a lot, so that might have played a part. Bo Nix, he's part of an offensive line that gave up one of the top teams gave up the fewest sacks. So Bo Nix had his time. He had his struggles in the early parts of the season, but seeing Bo Nix, go into this season. I'm a little concerned a little bit with the offense because I don't think we didn't really adjust much on the offensive side. Let's go look at our running backs. Our running backs is definitely running backs by committee for sure. We have Jaleel McLaughlin. We have Audric Estime. We got R.J. Harvey, who we just drafted. And again, in terms of the New Orleans Saints, what did Sean Payton say? I mean, I guess I get it. Your former players and stuff like that. You're gonna do what you're gonna do. But he said that R.J. Harvey reminds him of Darren Sproles. So, like I said, we're getting into that realm of the Saints, and they also got Blake Watson as well. If you look at their wide receivers, they didn't do too much upgrading there, unfortunately, and I think that was one of their big things that they needed to do in terms of the Denver Broncos. They still got Cortland Sutton. They got Marvin Mims. Devon Vele's in his second year. Troy Franklin, he's going to play. He's in his second year as well. Hopefully, he'll contribute more this upcoming season. They drafted Pat Bryant, the wide receiver out of Illinois, who reminds Sean Payton of Michael Thomas. So, again, here we go with the Saints comparisons, which I guess makes sense. For the tight end room, they got a new rep at tight end with Evan Ingram. They also drafted Caleb Lore in the 7th round, who was a former basketball player with limited reps in football, who, again, reminds him of Jimmy Graham. So, again, you can just kind of see, the definition of insanity. And then, again, just on top of all of these players that he grabbed from the free agency that were former Saint players. So, they call them the Denver Saints. So, like I said, the definition of insanity there with Sean Payton. But let's look at the defensive side of the ball, which is disgustingly good on paper, that is. I mean, regardless, some of these players are proving themselves that they are the best in the league. So they added Dre Greenlaw, who got injured in an offseason workout, and it probably will sideline him most of the offseason, but it shouldn't be too serious in the point of where he will miss any significant time in the regular season. So Talanoa Hufanga as well. They added him for that safety spot. They re-signed DJ Jones. Alex Singleton is coming back from injury as well. They drafted Jahdae Barron right there, their number one pick in the draft this year. They drafted Quay Robinson, which is much needed depth for a team that already led the league in sacks. They already led the league in sacks. I think it was like 64 or something like that, I believe. Numbers could be a little bit wrong. They drafted Savion Jones as well. For this defense, though, y'all, let's kind of look at this defense. Again, like I said, you got PS2, like I said, which is probably one of the best corner in the league by far. There's no question about it, no doubt about it. But if we look at this team, their top 5 defense for sure. in terms of their offense, I think if Bo Nix picks up where he left off late in the stretch of the season, as opposed to his early rookie struggles, this Denver offense could crack the top 15 for sure. And like I said, I can see them giving the Chiefs a run for their money in the AFC West. While talking about the AFC West, let's take a look of who they play this year. The schedule is going to be released May 14th. Which is, what is that? When is that? That's in like 2 weeks-ish or something like that. So let's kind of look at some of their opponents at home. Or let's look at their tough road games, actually, for one, y'all. They have, first of all, divisional games are always going to be tough regardless. The AFC West is stacked with talent and just great coaching as well from the Raiders, from the Chiefs and the Chargers as well. So you have great coaching, great players over there at all those respective teams. These road games now, these are really tough. So they're playing a revamped Jets team as well, who just signed Justin Fields, and they look to that defense is still pretty comparable for sure. And again, and then they also play the Super Bowl champ, the Philadelphia Eagles, on the road in Philly. That's going to be a tough one. That's going to be the toughest road test for Bo Nix. But again, I think he's ready for it because I'll talk about it, y'all. Hold on. Well, I'll talk about it though. So those are some of the away games that they play. They're going to play their home games. Cam Ward's coming to town, the number 1 overall pick. He is coming to town to play the Denver Broncos. Travis Hunter returns to Colorado with the Jacksonville Jaguars and plays Denver. The Giants coming to town as well. Now, will Jackson Dart be the starter by that time? Or will we have another Russ versus Denver saga? Now, a ceiling I have for this Denver Broncos team, I got them going 12-5, possibly and winning the division. Now, you might call me crazy, but let's think about it, y'all. The Denver Broncos were 1 blocked field goal away from sweeping the Kansas City Chiefs. They were 1 field goal block away from beating Kansas City in Arrowhead last year, y'all. So Denver has the tools. They have what it takes. They just had some immaturity issues, like a lot of young teams have. The special teams was a huge issue for Denver. The last couple years, special teams has always been an issue, whether it is getting blocked field goals or punts getting blocked, not covering punts. Kickoff coverage is terrible. Like, I can see this team winning the division. That's their ceiling, 12-5, winning this division. Obviously, they're going to struggle against their divisional rivals for sure. They're going to struggle against the Raiders, but I think I can see them, sweeping the Raiders. I can see them splitting the series with the Chargers, and I got them sweeping the Chiefs. I'm not going to lie to y'all. That might be a hot take, but that's what I believe. Come at me if you need to. Their floor, though, I think their floor would probably be 9-8, and they missed the playoffs because, like I said, this is a very tough schedule for them. Especially on the road, and we can really see how Bo Nix plays on the road. I mean, in his last game in the playoffs, he kind of struggled. I mean, he played well in that first half, but then they kind of just went in a different direction that second half in the wild card game against Buffalo. But he has, and that's why I'm confident that I can see them winning these tough road games because he's shown sparks that he can play very well on the road in a hostile environment against top tier opponents. Again, though, my final thoughts, though, for this team, I could, realistically, not riding the high and not riding the low, I believe they can go 10-7. Again, maybe go 11-6, improve by 1 win, which is still improvement is movement. You know what I'm saying? Improvement is movement. 11-6, they get a wild card spot, and I can see them maybe. I can see them maybe getting to the divisional round. This upcoming season. So, shout out to the Denver Broncos. Like I said, y'all, let me know what you think about my Denver Broncos. If you think I'm crazy, then tell me. I might be a little crazy, but I'm biased as well, a little bit in that sense. But I've been watching Denver for God knows how long. So, and I think I know what I'm talking about in this sense, and hopefully you guys believe in me too. And then before I let you guys go, I seen this post, and again, like the NFL offseason, it's dragging along, so, folks are losing things to kind of post about. I seen this post on Instagram. It was a generational, all NFL generational team or something like that. So, if we take a look at all of the players that were selected, so there, it was what, Gen Z, millennials, and then what was it, Gen X and stuff like that as well. So if we take a look at it, let's look at the Gen Z folks for a second. Now, the quarterback for Gen Z, we got Lamar Jackson. The running back is Saquon Barkley. The wide receivers are Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, which I can totally agree with that. And then they got Brock Bowers as the tight end for the Gen Z, which, you know what, I can see the vision there. He's still kind of young, got things that prove. For the millennials, they got Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, Adrian Peterson at running back, Antonio Brown and Julio Jones at the receiving spots. They got Rob Gronkowski at the tight end position. For Gen X, they got Tom Brady at the quarterback position, Barry Sanders at running back, Randy Moss and Marvin Harrison at the receiver, and then tight end got Tony Gonzalez. Now, my initial thoughts looking at this, though, y'all, it's kind of crazy that they put Patrick Mahomes in the millennials. He's only a year older than Lamar Jackson. They both they came out the draft a year apart. So it's like, you could probably switch Lamar Jackson here and put him, or switch Lamar Jackson out, put Patrick Mahomes in the Gen Z. So that leaves a hole for the millennials. And for there, I'd plug maybe even Aaron Rodgers there, maybe Big Ben. You could probably even put Phillip Rivers there, y'all. Hey, he's he didn't win a championship, he didn't win a Super Bowl, nothing like that. But I still think Phillip Rivers deserves his flowers here because he was a really good quarterback. Actually, I really enjoyed watching Phillip Rivers, even though he was a division rival, and his attitude was it was funny. So, and I think he has like 30 kids. So I mean, hey, he definitely is a millennial, but. Just looking at that, so like I say, you plug in, take Mahomes, put him in Gen Z, and then plug in Aaron Rodgers, Big Ben, Phillip, Drew Brees even as well. And then also for the wide receivers for the millennials, I like Antonio Brown, you know what I'm saying, y'all? Minus all like his whatever got going on now, you know what I'm saying? I know he got a lot going on over there. Hopefully gets that taken care of. But I think you could probably sub him out for Larry Fitzgerald, y'all. That man is for sure hands. You could probably sub in Calvin Johnson as well, because man, watching Calvin Johnson, if you've seen the screenshots or the clips of Calvin Johnson and teams lining up, they're double teaming him, triple teaming him, got all types of things. I put Calvin Johnson there. You got two big wide receivers in Julio and Calvin. That's kind of crazy. But, I mean, all in all, though, I mean, if looking at all these teams and looking, especially Gen X, you got the best quarterback in NFL history, one of the best running backs in NFL history, two of the top-tier best wide receivers in NFL history, and obviously one of the best tight ends in NFL history, too. You can't, but nothing, give old school, Gen X the cake because, Tom Brady's the smartest man in the NFL. He was the smartest man ever. He didn't have the speed. He didn't have, the getaway speed out the pocket to, extend the plays. But he knew how to mentally. His mental up there was out of this world insane. So all in all, I got Gen X. In this scenario, I think Gen X will probably be my go-to here. I'm a young buck, so obviously I like Gen Z. I like all the players that are coming out so far. There's the gap between Gen X and Gen Z is kind of insane in terms of skill sets, because Gen Z might be just a little bit faster for sure. They're definitely faster, and they all around the field, explosive is for sure. But overall in all, give me Gen X, y'all. And then with that all being said now, y'all, that concludes this episode of This Week in Sports. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I can't wait to, going into next week, we're going to talk more about the NBA playoffs with the second round going underway last night, and then also tonight with some teams playing tonight as well. Like I said, I'm going to keep my eye on that Shedeur Sanders spiel. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, if there's a team you want me to cover, if there's anyone you want me to kind of research and look over and kind of give my opinion on, feel free to leave it in the comments. DM me on my Instagram, This Week in Sports Pod, or whatever floats your boat, y'all. But at the same time, thank you guys again for listening, and I hope you guys have a great time.